Next up, we have offensive coordinator Chad Scott. Questions for Coach Scott? Greg?
Chad, with so many players back who started last year, can you go faster, be further along at this point in camp than in the past? Where are you in that regard?
We can, and we have. We have in regards to putting a little more on those guys because they showed the ability to handle it this spring, and we had a lot of work together this summer. And it was good execution. It was great execution. They did a great job with that. So we have been further along with that coming in these first 4 days.
So what do you think of camp so far?
It's looking good, man. And I tell you, I'm really pleased with their trust in doing the little things right to create some big plays. We're talented, very talented right now. It's a great thing to see. And where at times last year at this particular time we might have had a couple guys just pressing to try to make plays. Right now they're trusting in the ability to do the little things right to create big things, and it's really good to see. The execution's been really good. The mistakes have been minimal, and the guys are flying around confidently.
Most you put on them, the expectations this year, is this as a coach the most you would say?
Absolutely, we're a real contender, and we coach. Talk about it all the time. We coach these guys, to championship standards, and because we got real contender, we were real contender. We got real talent, and the guys focus, guys believe, and so we put a lot on those guys, and they've been able to handle it, and it's been a great thing to see, and it's to the point too where even when all the stuff we put on them, they see it, they understand it, they know it really well. So if it's ever mistakes, they're able to correct it before we're able to get to them. We talk about it all the time that it ain't the coach saying who we are here. It's the players saying that, and so those guys understand it, and it's been good.
On the flip side, probably less patience.
A whole lot less patience, no doubt.
Yeah.
That's because, and not in a bad way, in the sense where, like I said, we put a lot on them this spring. The execution was good this spring, and they did a phenomenal job this summer, gelling together and working together. And so the expectations now coming into fall camp is that they do know how to line up. They do know the assignments. They do know the techniques because we worked all that. And so that gives us an opportunity to be further along in the playbook early on. So absolutely, less patience.
Where is it you guys need to improve offensively from last year? Is it just consistency in the pass game, or what, if you had to just pick out one thing?
If I had to pick out one thing, we got to be able to score when we get in the red zone. Just one thing. We do a phenomenal job getting started. We start fast. We get first downs, earn first downs, and we got to score in the red zone. And we were better last year in turnovers in regards to taking care of the ball, but we weren't good enough. We got to be better in that regard, taking care of the football.
Touchdowns, I guess you're meaning touchdowns.
We got to get touchdowns.
Yeah, not field goals, touchdowns.
Right. We got to score touchdowns.
Yeah, talking about turnovers, Garrett didn't turn the ball over a lot, and he didn't get sacked a lot, but he doesn't exactly play safe. So how has he, found the balance for that to get explosive plays, but he's not putting himself or the ball in danger?
Man, they're confident. We talk about it all the time. First, we talk about the ball absolutely every single day. And to be great at anything, we talk about you got to have courage to take risk. And we allow him. We give him the freedom to go around and make plays and not play scared. And I think we give him the ability, particularly in the summertime, to if he feel like he can. You got days where he'll go through progressions like he's supposed to, and then we have days where we may say, hey, just if you see it, you feel like you can throw it. Take a chance at it and do that in the summertime, where if it is mistakes or you feel like you can't throw it or that wasn't the right decision, right throw to make, he knows not to do it when we get in the season. So now when he gets in the season, he's already shown himself, proved himself through the summer that I got the similar look and I couldn't make that play. So giving him the freedom to be able to do some things throughout the summer, I think, when he gets in the season, he realizes himself whether or not he can do such and such. But ultimately, it's his confidence to go out there and make plays, and we won't hold him back.
Did that play into how good the 2-minute drill was last year?
Absolutely. And those guys rally around him, man. And then both those quarterbacks playing really good. But those guys rally around him. They want to make plays for him. And the mentality, like, for example, early on, I'll say toward the end of the year, the mentality was just give us the ball back. So they feel like right now, as long as we got time, we got a chance. And that's the mentality that they carry around. We was talking about, being clarity and being clear and concise and how we teaching it to those guys. So ultimately, they got the confidence, had the courage to go out there and take risks and be special with the ball in their hands.
He was telling me yesterday, interesting, adding Ryder Burton has really opened up your playbook for Garrett and Nico. Whereas before, you had to kind of protect Nico because, you know, what was behind that. Now, with those two guys, everything's wide open.
Everything's wide open. Well, the competition's really good, and Ryder's smart. He's done a great job coming in and studying it, and has a unique skill set, you know, one we look for, and he throws the ball really well, and he's come in and picked up on the offense really well, really fast too, and so that's testament how great he's working and the time he's put in this summer. But he's absolutely right about that. He has allowed us to open the playbook up, and he's helped those guys out a lot as well.
It particularly helps Nico.
Big time. It has.
So now Nico, we can see everything that Nico does, because before you were like, may not be able to do this
Right.
because we
Right.
got behind that.
And now you see he's going to be special. You can see it now. He's helped that room out big time.
What do you think of your offensive line? Obviously lost some good
Man.
players from last year, but what do you
Right.
think of the new group?
I love them. Obviously, they bring a lot of experience back. You know, all those guys return, other than, you know, the guys we lost. But those guys, Nick Malone and Quay, played a lot for us. But those guys are strong, man. That's our catalyst, man. They make us go. You know, so I love them. You know, we're great. We're great up front. They do a phenomenal job. They got great chemistry together. They work hard. They play hard. They're on the same page in every regard. Great chemistry with the quarterbacks and the backs. So we're strong up front. We're as great as those guys. They're great right now. Got to keep them healthy.
On Nico a little bit more, we hear a lot about how he's so much better this year, and he looks a lot better even when we get to see him. Obviously, Coach Brown would be involved in this decision too, but if he would have to play this coming season for whatever reason, would it be fair to say that he can handle a lot more than maybe he was
Absolutely.
given last year, where it was kind of
Right.
whittled down to playbook-wise?
Right. So in the past, we might have to, we have to change some things around if he had to play. The spring he had, and the summer he had, and even thus far through 4 days of camp, we wouldn't have to change the game plan at all for him. Like, he's progressed that much, particularly in the past game, and seeing the coverage and making the proper the right throws and on the same page with the receivers. And he did that this spring, and you know, we talked about after the spring, man, carry that momentum into the summertime, and he did. And throughout these first 4 days, we've seen that. So if you had to ask how he's improved, you know, he's improved from just being a guy that can just run the ball and being a runner where we just got to find ways to run him, to being able to call pass plays and allow him to go read the coverage and make throws.
Chad, what were some of the things that you tried to bring to the offense last year?
Say it one time.
What were some things that you tried to bring to the offense last year? Whether ideas that you had?
Yeah, man, like keeping it, manipulating free hitters. I'm always talking about free hitters. Finding ways to manipulate free hitters with all the shifts and the motions, you know, keeping guys honest and guessing. It takes a lot. And those are things sometimes early in my years that I bring to Coach Brown on like Fridays about the last minute, and he hated it. Like, man, you got to give me that kind of stuff early in the week. We got to have time to work that stuff. And so having an opportunity now to get on top of that stuff early with all the motions and the shifts and, you know, getting guys in a position where they could be able to handle that is the things I wanted to bring to the offense. And I knew, man, we had to be with the guys we had up front. We've always talked about how good we were up front. And I understand that to be, you know, championship contending teams that's successful consistently, like, you got to be able to run the ball, control the clock, establish your will, and that's who we are as a, you know, a fabric. It's physical, tough, and one of those guys I always talked about. We'd be on the sideline. Those guys would be like, Coach, just run the ball, just give us a chance. And so I knew we had to find ways to, you know, run the ball in different ways, get guys involved, control the clock, and find ways to manipulate free hitters. Guys, and I say free hitters, talking about safety stepping down, knowing where the ball is going to possibly hit, what confusing them with shifts and motions pre-snap.
Talked about is splitting the defense.
Yeah.
And maybe that's kind of like the free hitter thing in the motion, trying to get unbalanced. But like, where was that, and then how much of that improved last year? Because he seems pretty content with that part of the offense. He just seems pretty content with that part of the offense. Split the defense and find a way to get, you know, the numbers on your side. Maybe that's shifts and motions. But how did you guys implement that and make it as effective as it was?
Well, it just takes time. And one of the biggest sacrifices we made with that, you know, before, you know, being in this offense as long as Coach Brown's been in his offense, has always been, you know, you're trying to get, you know, 75, 80 plays a game. And so the biggest sacrifice with doing all that stuff is that you're going to minimize the plays you run because of all the motion, the shift, and the time it takes away from the clock. So made a big sacrifice for that so we can get all that stuff done. But it took a lot of time, a lot of buy-in from the players too. And at first, you know, the guys were, you know, a little hesitant about it. And then all of a sudden, you know, GG became real real fond of it, and absolutely loved it. And when he loves it, man, everything else goes. So.
Is Jaheim taking that step or the steps that he needs to be the guy? Have you talked to him about what do you have to do to be the guy?
He's taking that step. And then that biggest step, well, you might say, what step is that? For me, as far as the football field, is him having the same confidence to run the football to go pick up the blitz. And now and not necessarily picking another blitz because he's very strong. It's more so being able to recognize it. And he's taking that next step in that regard. He's out there playing freely right now. And he did that this spring. And even through these 4 days, I mean, he's so much relaxed now just going out there playing play to play. And it's a great thing to see because he has scary talent. And the fact that he can be able to recognize the different looks and all the adjustments they may throw at him from a pass protection recognition standpoint, that's huge. That's the step he's taking on the football field. And off the football field, like he's taking a step in regards to just, doing little things to get himself better prepared to go play and to go practice as if he is playing the game. Like thus far through camp, he's been getting here way earlier than he normally does to get himself in position to be better prepared mentally to go practice. And that's a huge step, because before it'd be, he go out there and he plays just off his natural talent and ability, but now he's putting himself in a position where he comes in and takes care of his body, and through 4 days, being a bit strong, muscular guy, he feels like day one on day 4, and he's fresh. And so that's a great thing to see.
Knowing him, you've never had to coach his confidence.
No confidence issues. Ain't no confidence issues. Zero confidence issues. He's a ball guy. He absolutely loves it. He's a ball guy, and he absolutely loves it. And it's a great thing to see. He has a big skill set. So you still got a chip on the shoulder. And that's the thing I love. Obviously, had a lot of success last year, and to him, ain't nobody talking about him a lot, which is a great thing. And he got a chip on the shoulder. He feel like he still has something to prove, and that's a great thing.
I was going to ask you, do you play off that? The people are sleeping on him a little bit?
Absolutely. I tell him every day.
You were kind of reminded,
I tell him every day.
Yeah.
I tell him absolutely every day. That's a real thing, and I love it because, typically, guys come in and had that kind of success. You hear people talk about you a little bit, you let it go to your head, but he has a chip on his shoulder. He understands that nobody's talking about him and asking about him, and I remind him of it every day.
CJ, what's
I'm
CJ's
so excited about CJ Donaldson because he's first of all, he did a phenomenal job with his rehab, and he did a great job. This spring, we held him out, but he was so locked in mentally and paying attention to meetings and practice, and it's the best he's felt since his freshman year. And his confidence is exactly what it was his freshman year. His body's changed his body, and he's having a great camp. He looks good.
You got a number 3 guy, too, and normally in this day and age, the number 3 guy is going someplace else.
Right.
And so that's got to be a pretty good luxury for you.
That's a testament to the chemistry in the room. Them guys are real tight. They're competitive. They compete against one another, but they're like brothers. I mean, they look out for one another. You guys watch them on sideline. They each other's biggest cheerleaders. They root for one another. But having Jalen Anderson, that's huge for us because he's a great talent. Now, I'm looking forward to seeing him come in, and he had a good spring, did some really good things. He has showed the ability to be consistent doing that throughout this fall, but he has skill set, and he's talented too, and that's a huge luxury to have, like you said. And we got some talented freshmen too, so we got a lot of talent in that room.
Tell us about those freshmen. What do you see out of the true freshmen?
Thus far, well, it's too early to tell. They've been doing good, but we'll find out a lot more after this scrimmage we got next week. But up to this point, they both shown the ability to be explosive with the ball in their hand. Dunbar, he's explosive. Dio is explosive, but they both had long runs thus far and through 4 days of camp. So we'll be able to tell a lot more. But right now, they're eager. They're learning it. They're picking up on it, which is really good, and they're talented. Excited to have them.
Chad, the red zone stuff, not to put it on 2 guys, but adding Bray and Robinson as targets down there, just big guys that look like they can get open.
That's huge for us. And Robinson, obviously his size, man, great skill set and size. Having Bray with size, and obviously having Cole down there too, man. I think Cole's scary. When I think about scary, I think about guys that defense coordinators have to actually game plan for and change what they do for. So having that kind of size on the perimeter, and then with all those guys, we got guys that can make plays down there as well. But having that size that guys got to respect is huge. So those 2 guys were big additions for us.
Do Bray and Robinson do it differently as far like getting open, working open in the red zone?
No, not really.
Similar?
You said
I mean, I guess Robinson seems like a guy who can go back corner and catch fades because he's so tall, but Bray moves around a lot.
Both can do it. Robinson just has obviously he has a bigger build. He can do it. Bray does a phenomenal job tackling the football. I think now they both probably got the ability to be able to do both things. If I had to pick it out, Robinson does a better job holding his line per se, and does a great job holding line so the quarterback get the ball over his outside shoulder. Whereas Bray, he had to play like this yesterday. He just went up and got it. Explosive athlete, got a phenomenal, knack for attacking the football at his high point.
For this offense to match what you expect it to do, it needs to do what?
Take care of the ball. We got to take care of football. I tell you, we're talented. We're so talented. We got to take care of the football. So for us, we got to start. We got to start fast, which we do a great job of. The guys got to be special with the ball in their hands. There's no play just called just to be called. We're intentional about who the play that's called and where the ball's going to. And so we always talk about production. They got to be productive. They got to be special with the ball in their hands. They got to take care of the football. We're great up front. We got to be able to control the clock like we did last year. We got to be able to protect the quarterback like we did last year. We got to take care of the ball, and we got to score in the red zone.
I saw a stat that really opened my eyes last year. You ran 6% of your plays inside your 20. Field position was a huge part. Where does that factor into what you guys do?
That's huge. We talk about that all the time, the field position part, particularly with the special teams, getting the right guys down there, and then also, being smart about not taking the ball out if we don't have to, based on, the percentage of the kicker kicking it in the end zone. But the field position is huge for us. And that's something we talk about all the time. And the testament to that is to get our best players on special teams. I think that's something that you guys will see differently this year as well, is with the talent we have, you're going to see more of those guys on special teams because that's the difference, man. And then us getting good field position, having good players on those teams to execute it, to get that field position.
How do kind of just regular offense skills translate to special teams? Because, I mean, we look at Jaheim and it's like, oh, well, obviously he would be a good kick returner, but does it, is it one-to-one like that?
Yeah, he would be. I won't pay him about that. No, it is. It's true. It is, but we got some. It is true. We'll put him back there for emergency case. He'd be an emergency case guy. He will be special back there. But like for him, cause he's a wiggle guy though. You want a guy back there kickoff return that can just hit it. And I'm not saying he can't do that, but he's a wiggle guy, and so you really like to have somebody that can just catch it and go hit it. Like I said, I'm not saying he can't do that. He'd be an emergency case guy, but I'd like to have somebody just go hit it.
Is there any way you haven't gotten him the ball that you can get him the ball?
We'll see this season. But it is though, and here's why I say that. Last year you might say, why didn't play last year? He had to learn how to practice. It wasn't a great practice. He didn't have great practice habits at all in any regard. And then once he picked it up, obviously his play picked up, and you see him right now. He coaching the young guys on how to practice, and so his capacity to be able to pick up on a lot more has increased. His attention to detail increased for the first time. I'm gonna put him on the spot. He takes notes every day, and it's exciting. He speaks up in the meeting, so his capacity to learn more is increased, and he's studied the game a lot more. He understands defense now, and so we put a lot on him, and he's able to handle it. So there's ways that we're gonna get him the ball that hadn't been seen last year.
I was going to say that's got to be fun for a coach to be able to think up creative ways to get a talent like that in different situations.
Yeah, it is fun. It is fun, and it's fun for him too because he didn't think that it was other ways we can get him the football, and so now that makes it more intriguing for him to continue to learn more. Because in my age, if I could have learned this like last year, maybe y'all did it to me, gave me the ball in this way last year. So it's fun to have that kind of talent that could pick up on it, and it's even more fun when he sees the opportunity to present it to him and to make him want to study the game a lot more.
Or other teams have to prepare for all that.
Absolutely. Because we ain't seen the best of that kid.
Receivers, so many of the young guys played last year. What kind of steps have they made?
They've made huge strides. First of all, they've all got stronger. And that was one of the things that we talked about last year. They had natural talent. They got to get stronger, but they've all gotten stronger, and you can see it. They all fast, so they can run past people if they have to. But they've shown the ability when guys, get on them and press them and at the top of routes to create separation through the strength that they put on in the offseason. And that's just increased their confidence that much more.
We talk about strength in general, but for a wide receiver, hand, grip strength, arm, creating separation, legs, what are the things that are most important?
Like the upper body strength and the lower body strength, and just like the true football strength to be able to create separation. Obviously DBs, they're gonna hold, and that's a natural thing. It's not a bad thing. Guys got to do it to be successful on that side of the ball, and our guys got to do a great job creating separation and getting hands off. They didn't have the strength last year to consistently get hands off versus good competition. Now we're going against good competition and older, experienced competition every day in practice, and they're able to create separation. And that just increases their confidence, and it's been a good thing, really good thing. And that allows those guys to buy in to the technique that we're teaching them guys. So.
Something that Jaheim, I think, mentioned in the spring was that looking at his freshman year, the one thing he wished he could go back and improve on was scoring more, finishing a couple of those runs in the end zone. That's something you talked about earlier. I mean, are you seeing that mindset out of him?
It was practice habits. It all starts with practice habits, and you say, well, practice habits, what does that mean? We all talk about practice habits that enable you to play your best when your best is needed. And so when he's in practice, like he finishes with game-like behavior. And what happens is when you continuously do that over and over and over, and I say it all the time, when you go against 11-on-11 competition, you get in the game, it's going to become instinctual. You're going to do that naturally, not even thinking about it. So his practice habits has increased, which has allowed his football conditioning to increase. So now he can play a lot more plays without getting fatigued, which allowed him to do that. And he's got stronger too. He's naturally strong as well, but he's got stronger as well too. So we got the ability and confidence to put him in and short yardage goal line situation where you mostly think, well, we need to put the big 240 guy in. Well, we put him in at 190 because he can get it done as well.
Just curious, when you're looking at a young player, typically how many games do you need to see before you can know that, is there a number? Like they always say in baseball, you get like 200 at bats, whether a guy can hit or not. Is there a number?
Nah, I wouldn't say it's a number. It's more so just being able to see them.
Guys.
You get them, you create opportunities for them to get the ball, and they do something special with the ball. And you say, we got to find a way to get this kid hit the ball. And then when that kid, he sees himself doing that, they'll lock in. Because even sometimes as freshmen, them guys like coming in and having to learn all the plays and assignments, and for a running back, pass pro assignments, which is real tough. It's a lot, and it's like information overload. And like right now, we're 4 days in, and some of my guys right now got information overload, and it's a lot, coaches. I'm trying. It's a lot, and so when they see themselves able to make those plays, they'll condition their own mindset to increase their capacity to pick up on it, and which is what happened to Jaheim. Early on, we got to find some ways to get in the ball. He made some plays, and then he kept making plays, and when he kept making plays, he started wanting to learn a lot more, and that gave us the ability to put him in the game.
In regards to Jaheim again, Coach Brown did talk about everything looks great, but the sophomore slump is real. Is that something that you and him discussed at all, or is it kind of an elephant in the room that maybe you don't bring up? And then are the practice habits?
I don't really talk about the sophomore slump deal more so. I just, for him, I just talk about the fact that nobody's talking about him. Nobody's asking about him. And, sometimes these rankings come out and he's not one of the top guys, and he's freshman of the year in America. And he said, no, I know, coach, but we got to go play ball. We got to go.
Tell me anything today?
No, I ain't telling me anything today.
But like the practice habits,
and he's a kid. And I tell you this, the very first day of practice, he showed up at this building at 5:30 in the morning. Now I'm taking that's a feat for him to show up that early. And so I asked him the second day. I said, "What time you get second day?" 6 o'clock. What time you get third day? 'Cause I got 6:15. Man, you're going backwards, man, every time, man. You got to stay consistent. But he is trying, man. He's doing the things like that to get himself in a position where he, get his body prepared, get his mindset prepared, so he can tackle every day. Like I said last year, being a freshman, it's a lot. Like right now, it's a lot for these freshmen. We just 4 days in. We got a lot more camp to go, and it's a lot of those guys. And he's trying to condition himself, his mind and his body to be able to withstand this and be consistent because he's having a great camp thus far, but he wants to be consistent throughout camp and put himself in a position to be successful. And so I don't see his mindset. Some guys are kind of lackadaisical, just kind of show up when they want to, or doesn't necessarily practice as hard, don't take practice serious, just thinking, been here before, I'm good, I'm good, I'm gonna be ready for the season, where he doesn't have that mindset. he's practicing great habits. He's locked in. You know, like I say, he's coming in, conditioning himself, getting his mind ready, his body ready for practice, and he's looking good.
So these are the things, though, that you look for to avoid that sophomore slump.
Absolutely, absolutely. Those things look for it. Really, the practice habits, and how serious he's taking practice, and because you can see it. If that's the case, you can see it, and I don't see it with him.
All the threats on offense and the talent you want to get the ball to. Farmer has been back for a couple days. How does he fit in?
He fit in great. He had a great day today. He's gonna be special. There's a lot of talent. Guys got to be. I always tell the guys they got to be special with the ball in their hands. And they believe in that. I think I talk about this a lot. Me being running back coach, office coordinator. All the guys up front had some kind of mention as an all-conference player, the quarterback, both backs, and tight end, and the receiver. And and those guys see that. They believe in what we're doing. And the fact that if you're special with the ball in your hand, you're gonna make plays, and we find ways to get you the ball. I always talk about if you're special with the ball in your hands, you move the chains. You move the chains, we get more plays. We get more plays. A lot more guys get the opportunity to go out there and make more plays. And so he fits in our offense perfectly. Has a great skill set. He's a tough kid. He's shown ability already to be able to block on the perimeter. He's willing to do it. He's shown ability in 4 days to be able to do it. And he's dynamic. Absolutely dynamic.
Okay, anything else from Coach?
Yes, sir. Thank you all.